What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a new video. So today we will be taking a look at Tanimbar scrub pythons, the smallest of the scrub python species. This is a species that a lot of people are very interested in, obviously myself included, considering that they are fairly small compared to the rest of the scrub pythons. So if you love scrub pythons but can't quite accommodate a snake the size of a barneck or a southern scrub python, Tanimbars are a great one to take a look at. Not only are they small, but they're beautiful and super variable in their color and pattern as well. So with all that said, I'm going to show you guys my Tanimbar Scrub Pythons and talk all about them. So here it is, the Tanimbar Scrub Python Somalia nauta, as the name would suggest, from the island of Tanimbar, which is kind of geographically in between Ceram and kind of Aru and Key Island. So between two pretty distinctive populations of scrub python, you get these little kind of dwarf Tanimbar scrub pythons. Funny enough, they're actually genetically most similar to the Australian scrub python, Somalia kinghorni, which is pretty hilarious considering those are the largest scrub python and these are the smallest. They come in four pretty distinctive color and pattern phases. They have two color phases, that being Azanthic, like this individual right here, and Zanthic or yellow. They come in a patterned and a patternless form, and all of those cross over, so making four distinctive looks of the Tanimbar scrub python, which are all naturally occurring, which I am very fortunate to have all four types in my collection. I'm going to show you guys all of them during this video. And yeah, they're really a great snake. It took me a long time to find Tanimbars in the course of my scrub keeping career. For the first 6 years I kept scrub pythons, I never saw one individual available. So when they finally started to get imported again, I had to jump on the opportunity to put a group together. For anyone who is interested in scrub pythons but can't quite accommodate a larger individual, this is definitely a species I would recommend looking into. All right, and this is my bigger female Azanthic patternless Tanimbar. This is pretty much like a big adult female. I've seen a bigger individual. She's about 7 feet long. The biggest Tanimbar I've ever seen, in person at least, was about 9 feet long. But that snake was 20 years old as well, so it had a lot of time to grow to that full size. I received this one as an adult, so she was a bit smaller than this. Obviously, a couple years into captivity, she's filled out into a healthy adult body weight. But these guys are definitely the quote unquote dwarf scrub python, if there is one. You know, to where some of the other localities and species, some people try to say they get smaller than others as adults. Especially some of the species that occur on islands, like Moluccan scrub pythons or Aru scrub pythons, that get the same size as any normal scrub python would. Halmahera stay a tad bit smaller than those do, but they can achieve a decent adult size, 9-10 feet in some cases. These guys do truly stay significantly smaller, where my adult males are 5 foot long or so, and I don't intend to really grow them any bigger than they are right now. This girl being about 7 feet long is, like I was saying, a big individual, very healthy individual, very good body weight on her, but I would not want her to get any bigger than she is now. So hopefully as she continues to settle into captivity, she'll be ready to breed sometime whenever she feels like it. For me, being able to produce Tanimbar scrubs would be a dream come true. All right, and now this is the patterned Azanthic phase of Tanimbar scrub python. So the first patterned animal we're taking a look at in the video, as you guys can see, the pattern is a bit different than some of the other scrub pythons. It's more of like a twin spotted look, kind of akin to a twin spotted rattlesnake. But in some ways, kind of the most similar comparison within scrub pythons of the pattern would probably be the Aru scrub python, which kind of makes sense based on geography. They'd be somewhat similar, although to my knowledge, genetically, they're fairly dissimilar to each other. But another very cool look. The patterned animals are a bit more sought after in the hobby. And for me personally, I prefer the patterned look over the patternless look, even though I do enjoy having all of the different colors and patterns of the Tanimbars. But super cool. And then within this Azanthic patterned kind of phase, you can get a bit of a color variety as well, which is what we're going to take a look at with the next snake. All right, and now this is my other male Azanthic patterned Tanimbar scrub. And you guys can see, obviously, right away, the main difference between him and the other male. This guy is significantly lighter throughout his body. I mean, To me, a look like this rivals some of the nicest Zanthic animals. When this guy is really fired up, which they will do, they kind of go through fire up, fire down color phases like a lot of the scrubs do. But when he's fired up, he has this like powder blue, purplish hue to him, which you can kind of see right now. Honestly, he's looking pretty good. Um, but just really high contrast, especially with those side dots and that really cool ghostly head. This guy is really, really neat. And one thing that I'm curious about going forward is how this color would, pass on within the framework of a Xanthic, and then even if he produced hets, so the Xanthic phase, if they would be lighter color as well. So that's one thing that'll be cool to see going forward. These have been bred a good bit in captivity, probably been bred for a longer period of time than a lot of scrub pythons have, but there hasn't really been multi-generational Tanimbars that have been kind of followed through to today. You probably couldn't find an F3 Tanimbar python in the world right now. So, going forward, that'll be a fun project for myself and everyone else who's involved with this species to do. And it'll be really cool to see how some of those colors and patterns, pass on from generation to generation. All right, so now we're moving on to the Xanthic or yellow phased animals. Obviously, a lot of us in the hobby are familiar with the term axanthic. Xanthic is just the presence of xanthophore or yellow pigment, not necessarily hyper xanthic, where it would be an increase dramatically compared to what would be considered normal. This color is technically what they're supposed to look like in the wild. This is a really interesting case with this species to where a majority of the animals that are in the wild are a double recessive gene, more or less, where the axanthic and the patternless are recessive, but most animals that we see, not only in wild accounts, but then especially in imported facilities, are axanthic patternless, which is pretty interesting. So this is essentially a normal het axanthic Tanimbar scrub, but is one of the more sought after phenotypes. The yellow coloration is really spectacular, and it can range from a more yellow gold to kind of a dirtier brown, even sometimes into orange. So they're pretty variable within that color as well, kind of the same way how the axanthics are variable within that axanthic silver coloration. One thing that makes these guys really, really neat. This girl's pretty special. I've raised her from probably about just under a yearling or so when she was imported. And I think within the next couple of years, she'll be up to size, considering they are very small snakes. Don't need to be overly big to breed, especially when you compare them to the other scrub pythons. All right, and this is the cream of the crop right here. This is everyone and my favorite type of Tanimbar scrub python. This is the Zanthic patterned. This is one of my adult males. The only one in the collection of this phenotype, but this is the only one of this phenotype I've ever actually seen available. So I was very, very fortunate to be able to get this guy. And he is just absolutely stunning. He basically is, orange and purple, kind of almost phenotypically kind of as close as you can get to a Moluccan scrub in a Tanimbar form. Very Aru-like as well, like I was saying earlier with the pattern that they have throughout their body. He has some really cool side striping as well. And of course, as you can see, he is a pretty chill snake. Tanimbars can get a bad reputation, as a lot of scrubs can, for their attitude. And it is deserved in some instances, not as much as I would say they're aggressive, more as that they're a little bit more timid and flighty than some of the other scrub pythons. Not sure if that has to do with just the fact that they're a smaller species or not. But that has been my experience with them, especially imported animals that are more fresh out of the wild, before they establish better and kind of become more accustomed to how you're keeping them. But this guy has been like this since day one. He's always been super chill and extremely beautiful. I really hope that whenever I can breed these guys successfully, that he's going to be the one to get the job done, because producing a baby that looks like him would be an absolute dream come true. All right, everybody, thank you for checking out that video. If you liked it, please subscribe here on the YouTube channel. I drop a new video every single Friday. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm on Instagram at Scrub Shepherd, Stephen Cush on Facebook, and Cush Reptile on Morph Market. I also host a podcast every Wednesday night called Cush's Corner on the Trap Talk Reptile Network, and that is at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, thank you guys for checking out the video, and I'll catch you all back here next week for a new one.